This is a program that I think my viewers need to watch pertaining to data dumping. There is a psychological reason in behind doing this, because if you don't watch, you will become targeted by various groups out there that think that they understand you, they know you, they have psychologically henpecked you in understanding where your heart is and where your mind is, and the next thing you know, they'll use it to their advantage. Please listen to this program. I feel like that it's very, very rewarding for those that pay close attention to this.
Enacted a concrete plan to prevent the same election interference that we saw back in 2016. Despite numerous public apologies and a few mild reprimands from Congress, Facebook and other social media titans have yet to address the concerns in a substantive way. Is it time for the government to step in and take real action? Joining me, early Facebook and Google investor Roger McNamee. He's the author of the new book, Zuck. Also, early advisor to Mark Zuckerberg. Roger, congratulations on the book. I see it advertised everywhere in the subway every morning. I get reminded that I got to have you on to talk about this book. Let's start from the beginning. When Facebook and social media first blossomed, everybody was talking about how great this was. We can connect each other across the world. We can stay in touch with old friends. We can share photos easily. We're all going to be a bigger, happier family. But you said you warned them early on that there might be a downside to this.
Well, so Katie, here's what the problem is. All the things you just said are true. I mean, these products are fun to use, and many of them are incredibly useful. But here's the challenge. The business model is about behavioral prediction. They're gathering data, and it's not just the data we use online. They get our data from bank accounts. They get our data from our medical stuff, so like if you wear a Fitbit or some other health device, they get your data from your location, from your cellular carrier. They form this really complex picture of you, and they do that in order to sell behavioral predictions about what you do. And the problem with all of that is they're in a position to influence what you do because of their ability to essentially persuade you to do various things with, notifications and likes and things like that. They get you coming back all the time. They appeal with their algorithms to your fear and your outrage to get you more engaged. And in that state, you can be manipulated from the outside. That's what happened in 2016 in the United Kingdom. It's what happened here. It's what happened in other countries. And Katie, the problem in 2020 is we haven't addressed the underlying root source of this, which is a business model where you're
The Trojan horse. This is exactly the point that I was trying to make in my other video that I made a while ago. It looks like a gift. It presents itself as being the most wonderful thing that's been created since the manufacturing and design of a toothbrush. But you got to look at the hidden entities that it could pose if the wrong person was studying your data. They was listening to every word that you're talking about. If they was reaching out there towards wanting to study your mind and wanting to figure out, well, what does he like? Well, he's into religious activities. We may be able to sell him a bunch of Bibles. Or we may be able to pursue this or that. Or whether or not you're into sports, or whether or not you fish a lot, or whether or not you're a female and you like to quilt, or whether or not you are into loving, caring for children. People can use this data for their profiteering, and it can be extremely dangerous. Listen to some more of this.
Really trying to let people's emotions fly everywhere, and that makes them vulnerable.
It's not just the elections. You talk about all of the ways that user behavior can be manipulated or be harvested. You also talk about why it's so hard to understand how that works. You say scientists have the ability to create deadly viruses, but society does not permit them to do so, except in carefully controlled research settings. Financial services businesses have the ability to
Right.
defraud their customers, but society does not allow that either. What
Right.
should be the limits, if any, on internet platforms? So what should be the limits?
Think about it this way, Katie, and this is really where the problem comes in. That these guys can track your mouse movements over time. And for example, if you develop a neurological disease, they're going to know before you do. And you're not their customer, right? You're the source of their data. The customer might be your health insurance company, and they can sell them the data, and the insurance company can either raise your rates or terminate your insurance before you even know you're sick. And that's what the problem is. They've basically declared eminent domain on all of this data.
Wow.
I think it's time to ask questions like, why is it legal to have trade, either a sale or barter or whatever, of credit card information, other financial transactions? Why is it legal to do the same thing with data you gather from health products? Why is it legal to do that with the geolocation data from your smartphone? All of these things are incredibly personal, and they're an invasion of your privacy and, frankly, of your liberty as an American citizen to make your own decisions.
In other words, if you have been seen on Facebook or other platforms, social media platforms, and let's say you are hacking and coughing, and it's very obvious that you've got some sort of a bronchial breathing problem. You may not be displaying yourself on your platform as needing oxygen, but that's the first thing that people are going to think of. So now your insurance carrier that's carrying your life insurance or your medical insurance is starting to scratch their heads towards saying, wow, did you see Barbara last night on her social media platform? God, she looks sick. She looks like she's fixing to croak. We need to hurry up and delete this policy before it's going to end up costing us $2,500 or $250,000 because she's got a life insurance policy with us. Do you see what he's saying about you can be too honest, you can be too forthcoming, you can put out too much information on your social media platforms? And that was also another reason why that I looked at everything towards, wow, these people aren't doing nothing but analyzing me. They're studying me like if I was some sort of a laboratory rat. Because of every word that I say, they've done the exact same thing to the Lord Jesus Christ. They deciphered every movement that he made, where he went, where he didn't go, what he said, who he was talking to, the reasoning behind him talking to who he was talking to. They was dissecting him. They was profiling him. And that's exactly what they'll do to us. They're harvesting us. Or, like the individual said a while ago, if you'll back it up, hang on.
You're also talking about...
Let's back it up. This is an interesting program.
Platforms. So what should be the limits?
Think about it this way, Katie, and this is really where the problem comes in. That these guys can track your mouse movements over time. And for example, if you develop a neurological disease, they're going to know before you do. And you're not their customer, right? You're the source of their data. The customer might be your health insurance company, and they can sell them the data, and the insurance company can either raise your rates or terminate your insurance before you even know you're sick.
Right.
And that's what the problem is. They've basically declared eminent domain on all...
Eminent domain. That was the word that I was looking for. They will declare eminent domain on your social media platform, and you not even realizing that somebody is micro profiling you towards figuring out, oh, Barbara, she's footloose and fancy free. We may be able to ask her to go to the dance Friday night because we know that she goes down there because she's already explained to us how that she goes down to a certain place and have fun. These people that are pretending to be nice, gentle, polite people have undesirable motives. Their intent is not to be your friend. Their intent is to figure out your weak spot. That way they can come at you and they can profiteer off of the information that you have given them. This is another reason why that I cleared my data yesterday. Cleared it. That don't prevent from others towards going in and dissecting my library towards the information that I've already stored in my YouTube channels. But at the same time, it gives me, or people like us, an opportunity, as well as this doctor here, I guess he's a doctor, the opportunity of voicing our opinions towards letting you know that everything that glitters is not gold. It's kind of like the fool's gold that they thought that they had up there in East Tennessee, up in the Appalachian Mountains, whenever they run all the Native American Indians out, and come to find out it wasn't gold. It wasn't gold at all. Didn't have the same balance, didn't have the same minerals, didn't have the same content. It was fool's gold. And to think that out of greed and out of trying to profit in their own demise, that they caused that much havoc and caused that much hardship upon to the Native American people is absolutely sickening. It's sickening to think that society is so barbaric.
All of this data, I think it's time to ask questions like, why is it legal to have trade, either a sale or barter or whatever, of credit card information, other financial transactions? Why is it legal to do the same thing with data you gather from health products? Why is it legal to do that with the geolocation data from your smartphone? All of these things are incredibly personal, and they're an invasion of your privacy and, frankly, of your liberty as an American citizen to make your own decisions.
Or any citizen.
You're also talking about this new feature that they're going to add, this clear history feature, and you think this could be a publicity stunt?
Well, Katie, I think with all of these things, anytime there's more visibility and more user control, that is a good thing. The problem is, and this is really what the big issue is, that the business model is based on gathering the data. Letting you clear it after the fact is good, but it doesn't prevent them from creating this behavioral prediction. And the behavioral predictions are where the control comes from. It's like they're running this massive experiment, and at the end of the experiment, they give you a recommendation engine that says, hey, if you like this, you might like that. Well, think about that just for a minute. I mean, that feels like a tremendous service, but the guy running the behavioral prediction engine can control the inputs and outputs. So if they know, for example, that you're relatively wealthy, they're only going to show you stuff that's more expensive, even if there's a better alternative at a lower price. And so what I'm saying about all of these things is we just need to have a conversation. We need to decide what should be the limits. And I think 2020 is actually the year where this issue needs to be front and center, because it's not right versus left. It's right versus wrong.
It's not just
Yes, it's not right versus left. It's right versus wrong. And whenever it comes to being able to influence people either in a negative way or spying on them, I'm going to use the word spy on them so that you can figure out their weaknesses, this can be a platform being used as a weapon. You can weaponize the information that you know about people. You can weaponize how that people think or what people like or what people don't like. And you can use it for your own personal gain. And because of that, there needs to be new laws written. And I'm not smart enough to determine how to write them or who's going to be the one to write them or what they're going to write them about. But there's going to have to be some barriers that people are not allowed to cross over, under, or through pertaining to Privacy Act issues, especially whenever it comes to your conglomerates. And I'm just going to use this one illustration for an example pertaining to your insurance company. Once they find out, kind of like they done me out here, they looked at me as me being, I believe the word was a high risk. Why was I a high risk? Because I got vandalized? Because somebody decided to rip up a bunch of my stuff and tear up my chairs and do damage to a couple of my signs and basically do several $1,000s worth of property damage out here simply because of people not liking my theology or my ideology that I preach? Why am I a high risk? Why am I any more of a higher risk over here at 291 Thompson Road, Sharon, Tennessee, zip code 38255, than the guy that's preaching the exact same thing, but he's over in Martin, Tennessee? I'm going to tell you why I'm a higher risk. It's not because of the message. It's not because of the messenger. It's because of the location of the message and where the messenger lives. In other words, I'm not right next to a police station or a police academy. I'm not right next to a bunch of cameras where you've got IGAs and Walmarts. And yeah, I'm stuck way out here in the middle of Timbuktu. And because I'm stuck out here in the middle of Timbuktu, they think that they can come out here and take advantage of me any way that they want to, especially, I'm going to repeat it one more time, especially when you have a judicial system in this county that don't give a damn about taking your evidence that you have produced on data form and you present it to them and they snarl up their nose and won't even evaluate the evidence, much less use the evidence in court. And that's exactly what David and I done again and again and again, and even presented it before our attorney that was nothing more than a puppet or nothing more than a monitor, an imposter acting like an attorney that wasn't a bit more attorney than a man on the moon, that basically allowed for not only for him not to represent us properly in the first setting of the courts, because we didn't trust Tommy Moore and his decisions because of what went on with David, towards David being violated on his own property whenever they stuck a gun to his head and tried to kill him out here. But my own attorney didn't even let me know when the arraignment that I asked for. And I get punished because I didn't make the arraignment trial towards them coming out here and arresting me. And then raising the bond up to the point that you'd have basically had to have been either rich or you would have had to have owned a real nice home to have been able to take on a property bond just to be able to get out of jail. It's rigged. It's rigged. It's rigged. Donald Trump is right whenever he talks about the system being rigged. There's lots of things that I like about him, but there's also lots of things that I don't like about Donald Trump, and I have expressed that very, very vividly in the last video that I just produced pertaining to why that I dump my data. Data dumping.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, ton of platforms out there that can manipulate you potentially in these ways, or that we
Google,
should start
Microsoft, the whole gang.
exactly. We should start a conversation about. I know certainly that they're trying to sell me
Angie's
stuff.
List, YouTube, anybody that's paying attention to what you're talking about and the subject matter that you're talking about, they're going to know. Rather not, well, this guy's into sports. He's a sports fan. All he thinks about is football, basketball, other types of sports events. And then you look at this person, you profile this person. You see, it used to be that a detective, a good detective, or a investigator, had to walk into a person's house to examine that person's object that either he or she had on the walls to determine what this person was all about. And you can tell by their music profile. You can tell by the objects on their wall. You can tell sometimes by their clothing. You can tell sometimes by the bed linens that they have on their bed. Whether or not they're into Superman, Batman, or it's just a moderate, casual living room, bedroom suit type deal. It's all pertaining to marketing skills. And these are marketing skills that people in the wrong positions can use to manipulate not only your privacy, but they can manipulate rather not. Once more, I'm going to use the insurance companies as an example. Well, we're not going to insure that person. I seen that person on YouTube the other day, and they had on an oxygen mask, and they're just at the brink of dying. We wouldn't insure that person if you was to enhance their policy twice the amount. No way. They're a high risk. Get them out of here. No way are we going to insure anybody like that. So they go to picking and choosing, cherry picking. Well, we'll insure this one, but this one over here we won't. We're not, well, we'll insure this one, but we're going to charge this one twice the amount of money because this one looks like it's fixing to drop. So there are hidden agendas in social media platforms. That's exactly what this guy is talking about here. Once more, these are dangers. Dangers, Mr. Rogers. Dangers that we need to be able to analyze, look at, and decipher in understanding, hey, no news is good news. And sometimes the less you say, the better off you are. And the only reason why that I have opened up with my heart, mind, body, and soul the way that I have to the general public is because I've been trying to show them who I am, what my purposes that I feel like that my Heavenly Father has given me. I'm trying to open up because of all the deception, all the lies, and all the sabotagery that has went on in this area towards the seeds of disposition that has been sown, let me get the word right, sown against the founder of the Windmill Ministries missions. Plus, I am trying to still do the Lord's work by putting out the message that I've been putting out that involves more than just John 3:16.
Instagram and every single day. And it gets tempting. Roger McNamee, author of Zucked. Roger, thank you so much for coming in and love the haircut.
Thanks, Katie. We'll see you soon. Good luck with your pregnancy.
Thank you. In another completely terrible story, the parents of Otto Warmbier hold North Korea accountable for their son's death, even if the president won't. One More Thing is next. Again, 22. One more thing before we go. The president left his summit in Vietnam with Kim Jong-un this week without a deal. He also did not stand up to the dictator whose regime killed an American. 22-year-old Otto Warmbier of Cincinnati went to North Korea in 2016 with a tour group. He was arrested for allegedly stealing a propaganda poster and was sentenced to 15 years hard labor. Before sending him off to a work camp, the North Koreans allowed Otto to make this statement to the world.
I entirely beg you, people and government of the DPR Korea, for your forgiveness. Please, I have made the worst mistake of my life, but please, act to save me. Please. Think of my family.
After serving 17 months of hard labor, the U.S. negotiated his release, and this is how he came home. In a coma, he died days later. Since losing their son, the Warmbiers have fought for justice. But this week in Vietnam, the president said this.
I know the Warmbier family very well. I think they're an incredible family. What happened is horrible. I did speak about it, and I don't believe that he would have allowed that to happen. It just wasn't to his advantage to allow that to happen. He felt badly about it. I did speak to him. He felt very badly about it. He knew the case very well, but he knew it later. Some really bad things happened to Otto. Some really, really bad things.
Why are you?
But he tells me that he didn't know about it, and I will take him at his word.
Today, in a statement, the Warmbier family responded without using the president's name. They said, "We have been respectful during this summit process. Now we must speak out. Kim and his evil regime are responsible for the death of our son, Otto. Kim and his evil regime are responsible for unimaginable cruelty and inhumanity. No excuses or lavish praise can change that. Thank you." Ali Velshi.
He tells me he didn't know about it. I will take him at his word. Some version of that was said in Helsinki about Vladimir Putin interfering in the elections. A version of that was used with Mohammed bin Salman about Jamal Khashoggi's killing.
It's awful when you look at Otto Warmbier begging for his life, begging for his life.
Yeah, there's no chance that...
He's accused of stealing a propaganda poster. Who knows if he actually did that? He's begging for his life, and then the president gets on stage and says, "Oh, I believe this murderous dictator. He's a good guy, and we fell in love." And he writes me letters.
It's remarkable. I'm sorry that
it's an insult to our intelligence.
Politics aside, I mean, just look at that as a human.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Katie, have a good afternoon.
You too.
Thanks.
It's an insult to our intelligence. And that's another reason why yesterday that I decided to dump my data. I was so sick of listening to this type of leadership coming from our chief and commander. And once more, there's no doubt, Donald Trump, he struck off on some good points. He's done some good things. But he's also done some bad things. He's also done some really, really horrible public relation things that I don't think that not only the family of Otto should snarl up their nose at, but the majority of the American citizens that cares anything at all about our freedoms and about our Constitution should snarl up their nose about. I think it should be reframed and it should be reacted immediately and have a personal apology come from the American president pertaining to the statement that he has made about this family and about their son Otto. That's just my feelings. It's just my personal feelings about it now. But whenever you're whitewashing and using excuses of an evil dictator of an evil empire such as North Korea, there's really no excuse for this. Shalom. Thanks again for listening. It's upsetting. Dear Lord God in heaven, have mercy on all of us. It's troubling.